joined by Paradox for this broadcast. How are you, man?
I'm doing perfectly well, thank you, Bob. We've got a return of two. Yeah, sorry, we've got two returning teams here. We've got Madrid and we've got Amsterdam. I forget the last names of the teams, so maybe you'll
Yeah.
enlighten me on that one if you remember.
So that is the Madrid Mages and the Amsterdam Totems. Amsterdam
Okay.
Totems going into this final week 7 with a 3-3 record, while Madrid Mages are at 4-2. So Amsterdam Totems have a win and in. If they lose today, they will not make it to the playoffs round. While Madrid Mages are guaranteed in, but a win will guarantee they make it straight into the top four. If they lose, they will still make it to the playoffs, but they'll have to play an extra game. So both teams will want to win today. So Paradox, these lineups, what do you make of them?
And if I'm being honest, we've got standard shaman, standard priest, and then aside from that, we've got a couple of different decks on both sides. The Dutch are deciding to bring Quest Druid with Chef Nomi, Highlander, like Reno style mage that we saw from the last format,
With
and
Nazoth.
especially with Nizov, yeah. And
So it's
then
a
on the side of the Spaniards, we've got standard Holy Wrath Paladin, now with Emperor. And we've got Highlander Hunter, the stainless bloody face used in his Masters performance last weekend.
yeah. So the two kind of interesting decks on either side are two different Highlander decks. The Highlander Hunter without the secret package, just with a lot more minion and tech cards. So there's quite a lot of greed in there. And then on the side of Amsterdam, we have this Highlander Mage, which strikes me as a little bit odd, all things considered. It's very greedy. It tops out in Zoth, there's Caligos, there's Ragnaros, there's Sylvanas, there's Emperor. But there's no Luna's Pocket Galaxy, which strikes me as weird when you're going quite as greedy as this. And one thing, that there have been a couple of deck building decisions, or possibly um, just blips through their decks. Their Quest Shaman does not feature Novice Engineer, which that's got to just be someone was building the deck, got to 28 cards, and was like, I know I've missed something here. Screw it, I'll just put in Witchwood Piper. So interesting to see how that one pans out. And then they have a Quest Druid, which this is a personal thing, but they don't run Innovate, and I do not like not running Innovate in Quest Druid. It makes the deck so much more inflexible. So interesting to see how those two decks pan out. Then
Hey,
Madrid side is very, besides the Hunter, it's just good decks essentially.
are you telling me that you don't think that Highlander Hunter is a good deck right now?
I think it's a like Highlander Hunter is obviously a good deck, but the build of it is still very much no one really knows what should be in it, what shouldn't be in it, because we just got to the point where people have decided to cut the secrets. So there's obviously a lot of room for kind of tweaking before it's going to take a while before someone we arrive at a build of the deck which everyone's just like, okay, yeah, this is the good build. Because some cards are a bit questionable. Like, I'm sure that something like a Hench Clan Hogsteed probably is a bit low power level to be in something like Highlander Hunter, all things considered. But the other ones are kind of tried and true. Like, Holy Wrath Paladin is good, Combo Priest is good, Quest Shaman is good. It's all kind of the same decks that if anyone's been watching Grandmasters, they'll have seen these lists repeatedly, especially this past weekend, the first kind of competitive play since the wild patch hit. And obviously, we do have our bans in, and both priest decks have been banned. So we will not get to see any priest mirrors, and we will not get to see any priest played whatsoever. And I'm very happy about that because I hate combo priest. Are you a fan of it?
I have mixed opinions on it. Why do you not like it so much? I'm curious. There's usually a different answer every time.
Well, like it's a very like it's a very good deck, but just the kind of variance in draw kind of bugs me a lot. Like those zero cost hands where you just haven't done anything for the entire game and you're just kind of like, okay, I guess I lost this one. I don't like those games, but enough about that. We aren't going to be seeing the priest. There's no point in speaking about it. We're going to get right into the first game of the series. This is a last hero standing best of 5. Amsterdam are going to be playing their quest shaman, while Madrid are going to be playing their Highlander hunter. And this has been pretty close to a 50-50 matchup previously. Both decks have got some new tools. If the shaman can get the desert hare evolve going as early as possible, the hunter doesn't really have any way to counteract that. But if it gets into, like, if the hunter gets a better aggressive start, or they get a good amount of early damage going into the late game, could really go either way. And Amsterdam have a pretty good opener. All they need now is an evolve.
Yes, though the hunter opener isn't bad either. We see Wander up on 1, Desert Spear on 2 with the hyena. This hyena could grow out of control remarkably quickly.
Of course it's the right way.
Course, on what the shaman has to counteract it. Of course, and how the Spaniards want to take this game, they could very well just. They could just try for it now. They could just go like scavenging hyena trade. I don't think they will, but they could.
It is an option. Stay on curve, generate a 4-3 to contest this, what would be a 2-2, and would be punished quite heavily by something like either a copy of Sandstorm Elemental, a lackey, like either the damage or the rush lackey. But they are going to go for it, saying no time like the present. Plays really well into this Desert Spear, as does that Revenge of the Wild. If they pick up something like Unleash the Hounds, could get a little bit crazy, and Amsterdam are going to go for the lackey just to try and kill this hyena. And they do get it. And they have to follow up on the next turn of the Desert Hare Evolve, and this is kind of the Hunter Nightmare, really.
Yeah. Can't really get much worse than this if you're from Madrid's position. Like, you're playing on curve, your opponent just has pretty much everything they could possibly want. They have a good card on 2, perfect lackey on 3, into the pretty much optimal play on 4. Like you said, Hunter doesn't really have many ways of keeping up with this. Just depends on what the outcomes are. And
ooh. And that unpowered steam bot means that this Desert Spear just does nothing. Just gonna be rushing these little 1/1s into this 0-9 taunt. And there's even a halftime scavenger, is it called?
yes, you got it on the first try. Well done. But they don't need to hit the spear every turn. They can just wait. All they need is like a deadly shot or a hunter's mark generated from this mark shot, and they can get rid of the 0-9 relatively easily. And they get Call of the Wild. That is definitely one of the more impactful cards for Highlander Hunter that they've gone with this most recent balance patch. Besides, obviously, cards like Ragnaros that we see to the far right over there.
Yeah, I mean, Ragnaros hasn't really had the same impact as some of the other cards, just because there's so much Shaman being played. When there's a lot of totems and 1/1 elementals with rush, doing 8 damage to a random enemy just doesn't do quite much. And Madrid don't go for the Call of the Wild, need to play a bit more proactively, I think, and the Goblin Prank at least lets them do something for the time being. And looks like Amsterdam are going to be completing their quest this turn, maybe, if they want to.
4 on the quest, so they can complete this turn if they choose to. I'll be curious to see when they decide to push the button on that evolve, like when how large of a board are they going to wait for before deciding to just, for lack of a better word.
So what's going to happen, Paradox, is they're going to complete the quest this turn, then they're going to top deck Desert Hare, Hero Power, make 5/3 drops, then evolve. That is how.
Well,
next
they're
turns go.
overloaded for one, they
Oh.
can't do that next turn, unfortunately, but it's always a possibility on a future turn. About that much, at
Okay.
least.
Yeah, so Madrid have... They've got...
Steambot is just so annoying.
This Steambot's just shutting them out of the game right now. I've honestly never seen Steambot be quite this effective.
Yeah. When your opponent is it's got one monster rush, having a 0/9 in the way is pretty good.
Yeah, these lackeys were not the ones that Amsterdam was looking for. They honestly don't
They
want
evolve
taunt
now. You could.
Yeah, they could evolve.
They're considering it.
But at the same time, they really like having this Steambot on the board. It's obviously made things really difficult for Madrid. So they
You
might
can't expect Steambot to
stuck around.
stick here, right? You can't expect it to stick. Making it 13 feels kinda underwhelming. I don't know. I wanna be proactive, but no, it looks like the Ducks disagree. They're just making the biggest boy on the planet.
I would argue that this is like, because they've seen how difficult it has been for Madrid to deal with this Steambot, and they don't have any other ways to deal with any of their other minions. This is, in a way, a proactive play in itself. They're making the taunt bigger, which protects all their other minions, which allows them to just push a heap of base damage, which is pretty impactful when you have a Life Drinker in your hand, which is just an extra 6 burst.
That is true. It does line up for the evolve next turn as well. You can go evolve. Speaking of which, gonna go Life
And
Drinker into the Goblin
Steambot
prank
is
just to
finally
finally
gonna
take out
die.
this Steambot. Yeah, there we go. Titanic Lackey as well, which is a added benefit.
The nods to the possibility of Wasp in the hand. Obviously, they
You
know
know there's at least one Lackey in the hand anyway, so I guess, yeah, it looks like they're going to take out the Cable Rat just to play around the Evolve possibilities. I can respect that. You know there's another Lackey in there anyway, so no reason to worry about it just yet.
And here is one of those cards which is there in the place of that Novice Engineer. A single copy of Former Champ is in Amsterdam's Quest Shaman. This is one scenario where it's actually looks quite good. Just make 2 5/5s, push face.
Pushing for 9 at this point, it's your opponent's down to 15. Bad. If they do that though, this Call of the Wild, oh sorry, Revenge of the Wild, my bad. Next turn, or even, it's going to be insane. Because you can trade Jaime into a 5/5 to sure. Like, and you sprinkle,
This looks like an
right?
evolve turn to me. The Steambot's gone, it did its work, now it's time to get him evolve.
Mortuary Machine? Oh my god, what? That's huge!
So we could
That
see
is
a
such a big boy.
Houndmaster short. Oh my god, Spring Paw with Reborn.
Yeah, this is gonna be a big turn.
I'm
No, because there's still so much power being presented on the board, but... Oh
gotta
man,
go for
like,
it.
I don't know how the interaction works with Revenge of the Wild, by the way.
They
Like,
Revenge
if
of the
the
Wild
minions get reborn.
They don't get reborn. It's when you play a minion. However, they are still going to get a rushing high main with Revenge of the Wild.
Yeah, and because the what's it called? The 6/4. Oh no, they're just gonna kill it. Okay, what are they up to?
This
What?
was, but
Oh yeah, no. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, this is just insanity. Yeah, that was such an insane turn.
that
Look at
was
the evolve board.
that was really gross.
Now,
The
as I
Immortal
say, now
Machine just...
Sandbinder could possibly get Zephyr's the Great, and then that can get healing. Lucky, they're reducing their odds because it means the Wasp is no longer lethal.
Yeah, which is obviously what they're thinking about. Do we play this Wasp? Do we hold on? Because there are still 2 copies of Weaponized Wasp in the deck, as you just pointed out. But they also are thinking, do we need it to stick a board? Because this Master Shore is not
I was
going
about to say,
anywhere.
I don't think you're sticking a board when Master Shore with Reborn is in play. I think that's ambitious.
I would definitely agree with you there.
But yeah, they're still going to try though.
And Madrid
Hatchet's
draw
not
one
going to
of...
do very much.
And this is one of those cards where I said earlier that maybe this is one of the cards which is going to be cut fairly soon, because it's fairly low power level, but Madrid look like they're going to go for Sandbinder, pick up either Siamat or this Zephyrus. Do get the Zephyrus, and possibly don't play it this turn. They can play it next turn to get some healing. I believe it always offers you Guardian of Kings if you play it with 7 mana when you're at a low health total.
Kill command, so you can just kill command to get rid of the 5/5. You don't have to. Oh, they're going for it now?
It would be very strange to go for it now, I think.
Yeah, nah. I'm pretty sure you just use the kill command. Oh, just go straight to instead. That was it. Wait, what are we looking for here? Oh, Zephyr's great.
They get
Holy Light is a heal spell. But does put them out of range.
Yep, so that Wasp is no longer an out for lethal, and Amsterdam's board is cleared.
Oh,
and
there's the
Wasp!
Man. What do you do now?
And you know what I said before, Paradox, about how there's no Novice Engineer in this deck? You know what would be a really good draw right now for Amsterdam?
Shadowwalk?
Novice Engineer. Because their hand is empty. They really need to draw. They could get their copy of...
I was gonna say, nah mate, I want my Shadowwalk. Because Shadowwalk generates lackeys and it has the Life Drinker in it.
Shadowwalk is probably the best draw, but that's a singleton.
Wild! And all of the minions are called the Wild Rush! Oh!
That is probably the best draw on 9 mana that they could possibly dream of. I imagine they go for it.
With this turn, that's for sure.
They could give Ragnaros Rush.
Can't attack.
Yep, they're gonna...
Yeah. Unfortunately, Ragnaros cannot attack, so you can't do that, but it's the thought that counts.
But Madrid, by doing this, are seeking to end the game as early as possible. Put Madrid,
understandably
put
so, given that Life Drinker is lethal. Yep. Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate, but that's how the draws go sometimes. Can't really beat that.
Yeah, the second copy of Life Drinker comes into Amsterdam's hand off the top. The question
after the Wasp that came off the top as well.
Yeah.
You needed both of those top decks like in a row in order to get there. That was.
Yeah, that was the ideal.
Games like that are pretty annoying to lose sometimes, but hopefully the Spaniards will shake it off a little bit.
Yeah, but also Amsterdam were rewarded for holding on to the lackey. They had the option to play it to kind of maybe try and stick a board, but they realised what the out was, stuck to it, and they were rewarded for it. So that means that the Highlander Hunter has been eliminated from play, and Madrid have either their own Quest Shaman or a Holy Wrath Paladin to counter this, so I assume we're going to be seeing some Holy Wrath here.
You don't think we're going to be seeing the mirror match?
It's possible, but you know, the Quest Shaman mirror match can be quite a bit of a clown fiesta, and I think Holy Wrath is quite a good matchup, and when there's also a Druid in the lineup, there Like, I think the way Madrid are thinking now is they need to count with Paladin, then they're going to get counted by Druid, then they need to beat this Druid and this Mage with their own Quest Shaman.
See, my interpretation is a little bit different. I think the Holy Wrath Paladin is so good against Druid and Mage that you want to keep it back just for the
You think Holy Wrath
possibility
Paladin
of running
is
into
very
those
good against...
favourables.
Do you think Holy Wrath Paladin is good against Druid? That's...
Mate, you can just get him for 50 with the Emperor combo. Druid can't go past 50.
Yes, they can.
They
Double...
can if you're unlucky.
I think they, on average, will.
Hey,
Because they're going to be
see.
They're going to be pressuring you, so you won't have the time to get to that Emperor ticks on both bankers, both Holy Wraths, hit them for 50. And in the meantime, they have double Ferocious Howl, Coon, Flooped Coon to gain ridiculous amounts of armor.
So, I was going to say, your logic is basically banking on Druid being so good at card draw that it out card draws the deck that relies on card draw for its game plan.
Yeah, there's this
I
card
was going
called
to say,
Nourish.
forgive me for being a little bit skeptical of that reasoning. We'll
I
see when
mean,
the time comes.
I believe the stats are pretty firmly in my camp on this one.
Yes, but stats can be skewed, my friend. You should know this better than anyone. But
They can.
that doesn't matter. We're in the Clown Fiesta matchup that you so dreaded. And
We
we
are
do see
indeed.
the Evil Totem on 1, the absolute best play in the matchup by far.
I mean,
Where
the
it
second
wasn't
best
there, it
play
would have been-
is questing Explorer on 2 after the quest, so both teams with pretty good openers here, and the Goblin Lackey, after you've played the Evil Totem, is probably one of the worst ones to get.
You would obviously want the Faceless Tacky more, though this does mean the Wasp is very likely to go off on curve, which is quite the rarity. Normally you expect the Wasp to go off on like... going off on curve and clearing this Questing Explorer
Yeah,
is actually rather useful.
Yeah,
At this point, if the Spaniards pick up Evolve, they just win. The hand literally says, if I draw Evolve, I win the game.
Yeah, the double Mogu Desert Hare hand, if you get an Evolve, is pretty gross. Amsterdam have the Evolve, but they do not have the Desert Hare. And as I said last turn, they did play off curve a bit. They could have gone for the Lackey with the Cable Rat previously. Do get the Faceless Lackey, which is great for enabling the Mogu Flesh Shaper, but they don't have that in their hand either. And if they play the Evil Totem, it will just die immediately to this Weaponized Wasp, so things are already looking a little bit awkward for Amsterdam. Madrid have definitely had a stronger draw in the early game.
Oh, go for it though. Beg.
That's an interesting one.
It's just going for
We're just
Evolve
seeing an early
now?
Evolve.
Okay.
I do like this. They see that they don't have any other good Evolve targets in their hand, so they're just going to make the most of it now. And they do get a decent one. Like, a lot of
I'd call that
minions
respectable,
yeah, a lot of minions with like high health totals for their mana cost. 2 mana 2/3, 3 mana 2/4, 3 mana 2/5 is pretty good for fighting the board against the mirror, because there's a lot of kind of just little things. So being able to pick apart those is pretty respectable, and it puts Madrid right back in an awkward position. Obviously, they would love to just have the Evolve in their hand and completely blow up this game apart, but they do not, so they're going to have to think of something else.
Hyper is a pretty decent thing to do instead. It does pretty much complete the quest because you're guaranteed to get Sled Slurper. So at 3 with the Piper, Sled Slurper is 2 more, so it's 5, and then there's 1 more Lackey, so it's 6. They're not going for it though, interesting. Just going to go for the Flesh Shapers now. Okay.
Just
Trying to clear up as much of this as possible, I suppose.
And they do almost completely pick the board apart. Leave themselves a bit weird, a bit vulnerable to something like a mind control tech. We could see a trade into one of these 1/1s, then a mind control tech. It's very likely to hit a Mogu Flesh Shape, which has Rush and will be able to just clear the board off further. Then they can...
Imagine the horror if it steals a 1-1 though. Like, it steals the lackey.
Yep, that is the worst case scenario, but I don't think Amsterdam really have too much liberty to... Oh, they should...
For it.
Nope.
Oh, they get it even without trading the minion. Wow. This off as possible. Let's see what they get off the top. They get mutate.
Mutate directly after
That
playing
is awful timing.
both Mogu Flesh Shapers is, like you say, pretty unfortunate. They are going to get to play Witchwood Piper, Sludge Slipper this turn. But now Madrid very much on the back foot after having what seemed like the god hand.
Evolve, that is.
It was one card away.
Yeah, missing piece of the puzzle, yeah.
And
It's
this,
sort of why I'm not a big fan of this Shaman deck, just because it feels like you're always looking for that one specific thing to complete what you're looking for, and when you don't get it, the deck just feels so much worse.
on the flip side though, I think Amsterdam have demonstrated that maybe there is a bit of an over-reliance on Evolve, pairing it with this Desert Hare. Because they use it to great effect on just a board of rubbish 1/1s, and that play was really what's got them anywhere approaching back in this game. Is the bat a battle cry minion?
Yes, yes it is.
So they are going to get another copy of that back into their hand. I don't believe
They
got
can
away
use a damage lackey later on to damage their own face to summon 2 1/1s. This dust bat reminds me of an ESL deck that Hello Leroy once used against me like many months ago, where he decided that self-damage Zoo was a good idea.
Oh dear.
But we love Nick, but sometimes he plays some very dumb decks.
With 3 mana 1/5 that gains attack, I guess as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, Madrid are going for...
Get as logical as possible, and they're getting a whole bunch of taunts, which they don't really need when they're at 30 health, unfortunately.
Yep, and Amsterdam get their single copy of Witchwood Piper, which is going to get them both copies of Sludge Slurper, and Amsterdam are just massively winning the resource battle at this point.
Yeah. The only real way I can see Madrid coming
they
back
steal
is
the
if they
best
decided
minion.
to go for the only way I could see Madrid possibly coming back is if they just made a slight mistake and went for the full Machamp this turn and MC Tech just wrecked them. But fortunately they decided to play around that possibility a little bit. It's still obviously really good here, it's just not insane levels of good.
Now, that second mutate off the top is just rubbing it in. They've drawn mutate.
It depends on what we steal though. Mutate and Joker set is not that bad. No. It's not what they were looking for.
It most certainly is not, but they do get a Corcoran from the mutate, which is at least going to let them deal with this taunted up Titanic lackey. And this is very back and forth, as the mirror often is. Madrid just needs, that one draw which allows them to refill their hand. They have already played the Witchwood Piper, which will probably be the best draw. Just demonstrated here just how powerful it is to just completely refill their hand. Madrid probably need to get a Novice Engineer to get them into something good to just tie them by, and maybe Shadowwalk can get them back into the game, but...
They haven't played any battle. They haven't played
difficult.
any Sandstorm Elementals, my apologies, so there's no real way that they can clear the board with a Shadowwalk play. It would literally just be for value, and value isn't really what they need to come back, because at this point the Dutch have the value game pretty much on lock. The board is pretty much full. They have a ton of cards. I'll take the Evolve as well.
So we've gone mutate into mutate into Evolve.
Into Evolve, yeah. Why did you use those Flesh Shapers? Why did you do that?
Well, let's see what this 2 minion Evolve gets. Festering Cult and Glass Knight, not bad minions to get, but not good enough in this position at all.
Really not.
And Amsterdam have so many cards, they don't really
They
know
can just
what
start
to do.
going face. Like they've got
Yep.
double Life Drinker, which is 12 damage right now. They have
8 on
they have
board.
former champ. Like they can put an additional like 10 plus power on board. They've already seen MC Tech gone. An hand that's being held for a while, so they can probably make the read at Shutterbuck, which only steals 1 minion. Like face, you don't care about this board. This board does nothing.
Yep, I'm all for the face. Maybe they're considering the Life Drinker interaction with Glass Knight where it'll regain Divine Shield. But I would like to see the former
Wait, I
champ
thought last night read when you restore health, not when anyone restores health.
Oh no, but if Madrid then draw a Life Drinker, they'll be able to restore the Divine Shield. So they are actually going to respect the Glass Knight for that reason. And they are playing quite weak onto the board. Get an Underbelly Angler.
Feral Spirit and Wind Fury. I think they ran out of time at the end there. Oh, the Sludge Top deck. That's definitely one of the things they were looking for in order to get back in. I think at this point it may just be have draw outside of Farsight to get from Spell Lackey. I don't think they do.
Yeah, this is looking like they need a Spell Lackey into Earthquake.
Lightning Storm.
Earthquake, Lightning Storm. A form of AoE, essentially, because they haven't found their Sandstorm Elementals, as you were saying. They get the Damage Lackey and the Rush Lackey.
Okay.
So, they can clear off some of this board.
They clear off most of this board, actually. Like, Damage Lackey in there, Rush Lackey into the Fester Root Hulk. They can clear most of this. The problem is, inevitable a little bit. You can clear this board, but you're not really getting. You're not really completing your objectives, and that was not good trading right there from the Spaniards. They should have.
Yeah, that should have been the
Should
other way
have
around.
5-2.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
The 3-1 into
I think
the
they
5
forgot
attack
that
minion.
Fester Hulk gains attack whenever like your minions attack. I think they forgot what
Yeah,
they did.
I believe that they did just forget that, because obviously it went up and they would have been able to trade into the Underbelly Angler.
Yeah. It's not a card that sees play really at all, so I'm willing to accept that they probably just didn't know what the card did.
It got seen at like a HCT like championship, didn't it? When Hatul brought in Odd Warrior.
Hatul. Everyone's favourite meme deck player, but now we don't count Hatul. He high rolled one event and we never saw him again.
He beat me on
Sorry.
ladder today. He beat me on ladder today. It was
Well, I
pretty
don't think I
disappointing.
need to tell you anymore then.
Going back to the game at hand, Amsterdam are just going to keep killing everything, just playing some more of
Yeah.
that stuff.
Starting to push some damage with Life Drinkers though.
Finally.
Finally. And
Questing
there's the Questing
Explorer.
Explorer as well. It's just bad draw after bad draw after bad draw.
Yeah, it's
They're
been
forced to get
really
Shutterbuck
unfortunate.
now. I see all of these just battle cries just do nothing, unfortunately.
Oh, that just sums it up, really, doesn't
That-
it?
Typical, yeah. You steal the minion, it just dies immediately.
Steal the minion, then kill it. It summoned the Desert Hares after it had done all the Goblin Lackey battle cries, and none of them got rush and could clear the board in any way.
It's just a bad day for overall. It's just a bad day.
That Shodok was essentially just like a slightly worse Doctor Boom.
No,
Just
that
made a
Shodok
6/6
was
and two
basically
1/1s.
like, why haven't you conceded yet? This game's unwinnable. Not even I can pull this one back. I'm just gonna do whatever.
I give
Whatever he
up.
wanted, and it just
He,
didn't
he
work
just wants to
out.
go and sit back on the sofa. He's done.
Blame him. Left on the hand size, and it's just not a good situation.
Float like a butterfly.
No,
Sting like a bee.
it's not a good situation at all.
Keeps
Just
getting
keep
worse.
developing.
Worm guard.
That's a
You
big.
can give it taunt
that's a
as
big
well.
boy.
You can make it a free 15 with taunt. Jiraxis would be proud. We go for the evil term. Okay.
I mean, I think if they did make the 315 with taunt, that might be the only way that Madrid can get back into this game. Drawing mind control tech, stealing the massive taunt, and then going from there. Because Madrid do still.
Oh,
we
we've
have
got a
a-
disconnect.
Perhaps Madrid just gave up, but unlikely. Might just be having some internet issues there. But I think the Shadow Walk at least maybe gave Madrid a route back
Oh
into
yeah,
it.
oh yeah, they had to play the shuttle walk. I'm in no doubt about that. It was just such a unfortunately weak shuttle
was-
walk compared to
It was
what
very
we're used to.
underwhelming, but it did
Yeah.
put some crucial resources into their hand, which they had just been completely lacking through, like, just a stream of really bad draws. Like, was it mutate, evolve, sludge slurper, questing explorer? So 4 useless draws out of 5. And it's admirable that they are still, like, not out of this game entirely.
You talk about
maybe-
how like the 315 taunt is a way for them to get back in. Even stealing the 311 is still a way.
Yeah, mind control tech is still a very real possibility for Madrid here.
Wolf.
They get an evolve with a desert hare in hand, and they could pick up a Haggarth's scheme, which is kind of like a
Pick up
get out of
fast
jail
sight
free
though.
card.
I don't see Haggarth's scheme doing you much good. You have to be the aggressor here. Now that your Shadow Walk is gone.
It could go one or two ways. They could think that as they have the Novice Engineer in hand already, the fast sight is unnecessary card draw, and the scheme is just like a combat mechanic. But I think we're going to be seeing a Desert Hare evolve here.
Just see you hit into the evil turn before you do that though.
Yep.
Yep. Alright, let's see what the 4-drops bring. To be fair, the Dutch don't actually have an immediate way of answering this. Wait. Ah, okay.
And they're going to kill it off.
Just,
Just in
substitute,
case
just substituting it so you get. You oh,
and it's a
he's
Steambot
back.
again! And a Lord Walker Cho!
Couture
We love
didn't
the
do much, but
Steambot,
yeah, the
so-
Steambot's back.
The show doesn't do a great deal, but
If anything, you're never gonna play Feral Spirit or Wind Fury. You don't need to this turn. Your main objective this turn is just clearing the board.
yep, but that was a pretty sizable board, and they do not have Sandstorm Elemental of their own. So Madrid might be mounting a comeback here. Like, Amsterdam were in a really good position, but they didn't really push as much damage as they could have done in that position. So now that there's board parity, it's...
I think they're still in a fine position, honestly.
I don't know, they're still in a...
You still clear a lot of this board this turn.
Oh yeah, but for the position that Madrid were in maybe 3 turns ago, this is a big turnaround.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure how I feel about the way they used that Wasp though. I think they could have used that a little bit more effectively.
Yeah, I think the rope was bad.
Because like now you have to push 6 damage on a 5-3.
So this Sandstorm Elemental is going to do a lot of work.
Another Evolve picked up off the top.
But if they do play that Evolve, they will give the Evolve to Amsterdam. So possibly thinking that they don't
That
want to do
is
that.
true. So if you and there is 2 Desert Hares in the opposing hand. So if you play the Evolve, it's actually going to be worse for you.
Yeah, but this is a pretty... This clears a lot of the board. Then the Faceless Lackey and maybe the Life Drinker will keep
They
on
should have
filling.
played the Faceless Lackey first if they were going to play it.
That's true. Always go for the Direwolf Alpha.
Only among other things, right? There's like Henchman, Hog, Steve, Bluegill Warrior, etc. Let's see if they would have gone punished. Krutask and Desert Camel.
So they want this Desert
No,
Camel
it's
to kill
called
off
Spitting
Lord
Camel,
Kacho.
isn't it?
Yeah, Desert Camel was the really old
One. Yeah,
3-mana
no,
2/4 that summoned a 1-drop.
this stupid thing's a Spitting Camel, and I spit on it while it gets evolved away.
And the evolve is going to go into Amsterdam's hand, and they're going to be pretty happy about it. And that is a magic carpet, which is pretty good in Lackey decks, but there are no Lackeys in hand or any Lackey generators.
No. Evolve is gonna be sick. You can clear the Barista
Yes.
as well before doing it. And you have the Rush Lackey as well. So you can evolve into a 4-drop, and then you can immediately drop or a 4-drop into anything else on this board with Wind Fury. So you can even clear 2 things if you want to.
Yep.
If that's
Amsterdam just
not a
think
good
about
turn, I
how
don't
they
know what
want.
is.
Yeah. Amsterdam just not sure what they want to do with this turn, it
They're
seems.
going face. Okay. Interesting. Oh no, they're just bouncing it. Ah, okay. Okay, I like this. Yeah. And you just do the 6. Yeah. And I'm not.
So they're going to hold on to this Hare's Evolve for an extra turn.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about the way the rush trades are going this game. I think that 6 damage is probably a little bit better suited to the Barista there. I don't know what you're scared of with the magic carpet in that situation. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's
Trade-
see what
trade,
this
I'm not
cable
sure.
rat can do. Going for the hag of the scheme. Yeah. How big is it? 4?
It is a 3, so
Okay.
that's a 3/2 Worm Guard sticking out. This minion stayed around for a long time. That 11
Could have
health
turned
has
into an 8
really
drop
done a lot
because
of
there's
work.
no way it's dying this turn.
Oh yeah, because there's
Rush
no mana for the
Lackey.
Rush Lackeys.
Yeah.
Yep, now
There
we're
we
seeing
go.
Desert Hare evolve 100%.
With the 3/1 Worm Guard that's also turning into an 8 drop.
That Worm God got some serious value this game, and let's see what there is.
Master! Oh my.
So, some pretty high variance ones there. Obviously, the Twilight Drake is a pretty awful 4-drop. The 3/10, which goes back into the deck, is a pretty awful.
Hey, they never
4-drop?
fatigue now. You know, you just play the Mirage and then it gets shuffled in.
That is
Fatigue
true.
him.
The Moshog is just another minion which is just never going to die, continuing the spirit of the Worm God.
Let's see. So where are these Rush Lackeys going into? So there's 4?
Looks like they're just going
Okay,
to
so you can clear Blood of Brave. Anything else? Yeah, and Cult Master giving you the draw. Yeah, not bad. The 13 on boards. 17 with the Wind Fury, so it's not quite lethal yet, but this Cult Master can draw so many cards.
Yeah, it's
Too.
kind of gross.
Yeah.
And there is just another Desert Hare evolve.
Hare. They can go for another large evolve board, like right after drawing 1,000,000 cards. This is crazy.
They get the Conjured Mirage right back into the hand. Exactly the card they were looking for, I think.
Yeah.
I'd like to see 7 go to the face here. No reason.
You make an argument
really
for
not.
trading the Floop. Just trade the Floop, draw the card. I mean, you can go for the Desert Hare anyway. Defensively, even still. To be fair,
think
with
they just want
Shuttlewalk
to
out of the
evolve this
way,
Conjured
playing
Mirage.
defensively is fine, I think. Oh no, they're actually just going to go for the evolve now. And they get Ysera.
Yep, that was a much better evolve than previously, I think.
Oh man.
This
And this
is-
Ysera is a prime target for Wind Fury now, because it's just so big.
I mean,
Let's-
this is lethal. These faceless lackeys are not gonna do anything.
They get torn. You never know. So far, they have one more chance though.
Ever the optimist paradox.
Maybe
Yep. Not even any
Jimmy
board
would have
space for a
conceded
2-drop to
this
come
game
out.
like 7 turns ago, but the game, you stick it out.
Yep, they stuck it out right till the end, and that was a weird game of Hearthstone.
Yeah.
The Quest Shaman.
See, it wasn't that enjoyable. That wasn't a complete clan fiesta.
That was just because neither team had the nuts of bunnies into evolve on 3 or with the coin or on 4, so it was a bit more interesting. And weirdly, Amsterdam just completely outvalued Madrid, despite the fact that Madrid played Shudderwock and Amsterdam didn't even draw theirs.
I mean, they also had like 4 turns of just drawing nothing.
Yeah, those draws were pretty unfortunate, but they came pretty close to going back into it, but it just wasn't meant to be. So now the only deck remaining for Madrid Mages is this Holy Paladin of theirs. And if they do win this Paradox, we are going to see that Paladin versus Druid game. And I'm going to be proved right. Just calling it now.
Sure you are. Well, we've got at least one game to go before that reality hits us, so...
Yep.
We'll see.
With the way this Quest Shaman has been going for Amsterdam, we might not even see that.
That is true. That is true.
I would say this is a pretty good matchup for the Paladin. But
I would agree. I would agree.
But if the Shaman does get that Desert Hare Evolve, then it's a little bit before the Paladin's AoE really gets going. And if they can force something like an early...
Depends on how
timeout.
many minions you get of that combo, right? I think it's actually really good against Desert Hare Evolve. Because it clears 2 of the 4 drops a reasonable amount of the time.
That is true. But if they manage to get a single Mogu in there at the same time, that's when it gets dicey for the Paladin. But I think we're just waiting for the players to get into the game. There we are. Shaman versus Paladin. This is match point for Amsterdam, and this is to confirm their place in the playoffs. Madrid with a whole lot of nothing in their opening hand. We're going to be seeing a full mulligan from the Paladin for sure, because none of these say Christology on them.
Or Prismatic Lens.
That's better. Madrid get the Christology after full mulligan,
Wait.
and Amsterdam
Oh, the
have a
Shaman
Mogu
full
mutate in their
keeps.
hand.
Wow.
That is a double Christology hand from Madrid. That full mulligan is going very well for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Madrid going to be going for the turbo draw plan. That's that prismatic lens you were talking about, Paradox. They've got
Right,
all the
right
cards.
after the double Christology. Like, this is the opener the Paladin needs in order to get ahead.
Yeah, you could even go Acolyte this turn, or they could go Christology, another 2-drop. Which would you
Richie
prefer to
Lackey.
go for?
It's not quite what they were hoping for, was it? Yeah.
And
They
that's
have power of more, but oh man.
that's
They were
not
hoping
it either.
for.
Yeah, Madrid's going to go for the Christology
Not.
first, and make sure they don't draw into these cards a bit later on. And now
I'm
Madrid
kind
need
of
to start
surprised they
thinking
didn't go
about...
for Acolyte that turn.
I think they may be
there,
thinking
but-
about the fact that they
well.
have the Acolyte Elven Archer in their hand. And
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't go for Mogu this turn. You can go for it next turn though.
the 1/1 means that this Novice Engineer can trade into it, put the Mogo off for even longer. And Madrid now have some hand size issues to deal with. I was wondering if maybe on the previous turn, instead of the Novice Engineer, they could have put down the Crystal Smith Kangor.
A save Kangor for a little bit of healing later.
One shot.
Acolyte Elven Archer, I don't mind that.
But
Oftentimes,
this will
Shaman
allow
doesn't
them
have
to-
too many ways of making the Acolyte like draw, like make you overdraw. Yeah, I've drawn both Holy Wraths already, so the only like really bad overdraw would be Shivala. Like you can afford to win with only one Holy Wrath in this matchup.
Yeah,
Seen it done before.
I think it's most of the time you do accomplish it with just a single Holy Wrath Banker, especially with Zephyrus. As with Emperor, it's very easy to do a 30 damage combo. You just need to discount.
Batterhead.
Wow,
That
that's
is
a,
not quite what the Paladin was hoping to get. Sorry, the Shaman was hoping to get as far as 8 drops go.
yeah. They weren't really look. It's an amazing defensive tool, but it's not really the offensive power the Shaman needs from their 8 drop. It's not really Ragnaros the Firelord.
Absolutely not. Yeah, you do see the Holy
They
Wrath
have-
coming in, just like, yeah, they only
Yep.
need 1 to win this game, so just using it for card draw now.
Yeah, and it spends 5 mana. Very important part of Holy Wrath Paladin is just utilizing your mana as efficiently as possible. Madrid doing that. And Amsterdam's hand is just really nothing at the moment. And they only have...
Scarista next turn, by the way, it's actually looking really sick.
Yep, that it is. And Madrid now need to start doing something about how full their hand is. Start kind of planning out the next few
Borders
turns.
too.
I mean, for a full board, it's not that threatening. Like,
It's 8 damage. 8 damage is quite a lot.
I think it's a decent amount, but it's not super threatening when you know for a fact that there is no Bloodlust in the deck. And you have Timeout, you have Crystal Smith Kangor, you have Shivala. There's so much healing in Holy Wrath Paladin that you can afford to take some for the time
That is
being.
true. You know, the Rush Lackey just to get it back into your hand. That's what they were considering and they decided against it.
This quest just still not even completed on turn 6. It's been quite slow going for Amsterdam in direct contrast to how fast Madrid have been able to get out the gates. Gonna coin up.
Now,
The coin means that the unpowered Mulbot gets to attack. Poor guy.
feels
just
like a bit of a
wants
sequencing error though. I don't know. Like, if you're gonna go for Rush Lackey now, why not get it back with Barista?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. That seems like I think they were planning to coin out the Sludge Slurper, but they didn't consider the fact that the coin would allow the unpowered Mulbot to attack. And Madrid sending this damage straight to the dome. And there's going to time out this turn.
Yeah.
I wonder if they use this weapon swing.
The Equality Consecrate.
Yep, and Amsterdam should be all too aware that that Equality Consecrate is what's going to happen. So they're going to use the Witchwood Piper on this turn to draw, refill my hand, because to give them stuff to play after this board gets cleared. And Zephyrus is active.
As I say, got a whole lot of nothing from it though.
Yeah, not very much to be getting on with. They have the Desert Hare with no evolve. Former Champ is a decent kind of board for refill, but it's really the only one they've got.
Let me think.
And with the single Life Drinker, just the swing of the True Silver means that they are right back into that 25 damage range. And Madrid are finally getting to the mana totals where they can just play their expensive spells.
Mana reduced for Shivala, yeah. So, at least
Yep.
13 reduced now, Hammer of Wrath 17. In 19, so it's at least 6 mana now, so it is playable.
Yeah, it's playable at any point. They've got a single copy of Baleful Banker in their hand, so whenever they do it. And we are going to see probably something like Prismatic Lens this turn. The Crystal Smith Kangor, Flash of Light, is also available to them this turn to get their healing back, get some of that healing going on, which they...
Let me think. Move quickly. The light bends to my will.
Mana cost of everything. Oh,
Oh, I'm alive! I'm alive! There we go.
I think we just had some technical difficulties there. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
I was gonna say, I missed everything of what you just said, so I'm sorry about that. But anyway, it looks like we didn't miss much. They just went for a giant healing turn. I think we'll leave you back where you left off. You were holding down the fort pretty well, I think.
Yeah, so looks like while that was going on, Madrid just went for the Prismatic Lens, Kangor, Holy Wrath. Sorry, not Holy Wrath, Flash of Light.
Flash
I'm
of
getting
Light,
the cards
yeah.
mixed up at this point.
They're all paladin spells, it's fine. No one will mistake them.
Yeah, and they also sent that True Silver Champion swing to face. So even with this Life Drinker, Amsterdam are still on 22 health. And they are taunting up a minion now, but it's not really particularly relevant at this point, as the single copy of
The
True Silver
paladin
Champion is
have
already
left
gone.
in the deck. By the way, sorry for the interruption. It looks like they only have like 4 or 5 left?
And if production could check the number of cards in the Paladin deck, it would be... There
Yeah,
are 4
it is
cards
only
remaining in
4
the deck.
cards remaining, so we are getting to the point now where to that OTK
Yeah,
left, so they can afford to use 1, disrupting their combo.
that is true. But this board is a little bit threatening, and they do have their single copy of Timeout remaining, and it does cost 6 mana thanks to hitting the Emperor Thaurissan from the Prismatic Lens. And they do need to clear this board. The Shrink Ray is still remaining in their deck, which is a pretty important tool against Quest Shaman. Just leaving them with a board of 1/1s can often be enough to kind of buy you a couple of turns, as they don't get to play any extra battle cries. Looks like Madrid might be thinking about just playing the Timeout this turn.
Prismatic Lens, okay. I know that Baleful Banker is the last minion, so they can just overdraw freely and not have to worry about it. They do have a Shrink Ray Consecration, which will clear the board. But they are at 14, so they aren't going to die right away either, which is good.
I think what we're going to see next turn is, we're going to see a Shrink Ray clear, which will allow them to play the Emperor, set up for the 30 damage OTK with Zephyrus, Banker, Holy Wrath on the following turn. So next turn they'll have 1 card remaining in deck after they Shrink Ray clear with Emperor. Then Amsterdam won't be able to kill them without a board on the following turn, so that should just wrap up the game.
I believe so.
Into dislocator.
Combination that gets them there, unless it's like damage lackey from this, at least. Damage lackey for them to have a chance that it's not.
It is not, so I think we're going to see that board clear into Emperor set up now from Madrid. I mean, if the... Right now, they can't banker an Emperor, banker a Shivala on this turn, because then they wouldn't have the guaranteed serve on the following turn for lethal. So
They don't necessarily need to guarantee it though.
That is true. It's just a matter of whether you want to kill them on the following
You can
turn.
shuffle 1 in, and then next turn, when you draw, you either have lethal or you have a Shivala in your hand.
That is true. So Madrid just think about which way they want to go for it. This
Yeah, shrink ray. Yeah. I don't mind this. Like you do it this way, like, because this way you heal for 7 as well. It just removes the possibility of like damage lackey, wasp, life drinker, lethal.
oh, and by playing
Which is a way
Thanos
they
out,
can
they
lose.
are going to draw both those remaining cards in the deck anyway. I didn't see that the Thanos was still remaining in the hand. The Plague of Murlocs is going to put paid to that and take one bit of card draw away as well as the healing from Shavala. But it's a matter of what do Amsterdam do alongside the Plague of Murlocs, because when you see the...
Sandstorm Elemental and Prey?
There's that. Just hope they get a bunch of 2 health Murlocs.
Not really sure what else you can do, to be honest. Your cards in deck, like... Oh, okay.
Right, Desert Hare, Plague of Murlocs, Sandstorm Elemental. Let's go.
They do get a bunch of 2 health Murlocs, and they've got a very respectable board state.
Almost out of cards.
And the Shavala
Drawn.
has been drawn, so this looks like it's going to be a Zephyrus clear.
I can just go like Zephyr's Twisting Nether, and yeah.
Zephyrus Flame Strike
Shaman
or
can't
Zephyrus
heal,
Twisting Nether.
like... Shaman can't heal for more than 6, so yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still over.
No wonder.
Yep. Big. The 19 is a pretty critical health total because even double life drinker means they go up to 25. And there's only 1 life drinker in the Shadow Orb pool. So
Yeah, you can just Flame Strike as well, so you even present the 3-2 as a threat as well.
there is that
Drinker.
life drinker. So
It's an out though, by the way. There is a potential out. Where you evolve Life Drinker into something else that can heal you.
it would have, but they would have to hero power life drinker to get the 6 health, and then they would have to single evolve Lackey into Ziliax. So the hero power
Do
would
that
actually...
because it would evolve into Ziliax and then it would just
Yeah,
not
but
evolve.
then it would guarantee to evolve into a 6-drop rather than a 5-drop.
But
these
yeah.
are all spells which would have been great maybe 10 turns ago. The Bloodlust,
They're-
the Stormbringer
they're
would
at
have
exactly
allowed them to present a
25.
threat.
At least 25, and we all know what that means.
Yeah, it is the magic number for Holy Wrath Paladin.
Very well
Was the
played.
last card, and we are going to see the Banker and the Holy Wrath. And it is going to be a 2-1 to Amsterdam. They have their choice of Nomi Quest Druid or Reno Mage to round out the series. I imagine they're definitely not going to be playing that Nazoth Reno Mage into a Holy Wrath Paladin, because that seems like
Absolutely
a
not.
very bad time. I'm just looking at it, the only way that I think the mage gets a win from that is Arcane Keysmith into Counterspell, and the Paladin has used all of their spells except for the last Holy Wrath, perhaps. Wow. We were discussing earlier whether Quest Druid versus Holy Wrath Paladin, that's the one we're going to see. Amsterdam feeling confident about this one.
Here we go.
Must protect the
And
Christology
Madrid
from the
have
side
that
of the
Christology
Paladin.
in the hand. That's the big one. And so the big cards for the Druid are going to be Kuhn the Forgotten King and Floop. Because they're going to be looking for a turn where they go Kuhn, Nourish, Ferocious Howl, something along those lines, Flooped Kuhn, and then Hidden Oasis, something.
Just a matter
Just
of
a
who
com-
draws
like,
the most
huge amounts.
cards, and that Crystal Merchant is definitely going to help a lot.
Yeah, Crystal Merchant on 3 is a big deal for the Druid. It's kind of like the Christology on 1 for Holy Wrath Paladin. Both teams get a pretty good start in terms of card draw. And crucial for the Druid in this matchup is going to be the timing of the Ferocious Howl. Madrid are going to try and push as much just early minion damage as possible while the Holy Wrath Paladin is not doing anything. That's why we see this Wild Pyromancer come down on turn 2 instead of the Novice Engineer, it means that if this Crystal Merchant does come down alongside the Elven Archer, it will allow a clear of it, and that's, I think, very smart from Madrid. They know exactly what they're doing in this matchup, I can see. And maybe forcing Amsterdam
Debating
into...
going for it anyway. Oh boy. Know that it will just die right off the bat. There is a coin. It's not like there's no spells that the Paladin can cast.
Yep, they know it's going to happen, but they're also kind of thinking, well, with the state of this hand, does this Wrath need to draw a card? As they don't have Nourish in hand, which is the big deal.
They say no. No, it doesn't need to draw a card. By the way, Acolyte of Pain is now like lined up to draw 2, possibly even all 3 cards. Especially if that Elven Archer, that's pretty huge.
Yep, and let's see what this Worthy Expedition gets. I would not like to see this Ferocious Howl come out right now.
It did.
Yeah, that is a card.
They just don't want the Acolyte to draw cards. I think that's what their aim was there.
Yeah, but Ferocious Howl is a very important card in kind of the late stages against Hodoreth Paladin. You need like the burst healing at the end, like just as the Paladin's setting up for their combo and they're not getting any more damage in off board or from True Silver Champion. So that's when they want to get to the 60 health-ish mark. And using one Ferocious Howl early instead of just using this, because if this Crystal Merchant doesn't come down, when's it going to come down?
It's a wonderful question. And it's a question I don't have the answer to at present, unfortunately. It's probably going to try to find ways of not overdrawing with this Acolyte of Pain if possible. Just going straight for the True Silver hit, just like, yep.
Yep, this is
Good
very
armor.
important. Yeah, this is very important because Hidden Oasis is a very important card, but it doesn't regain armor, only health. So if
Old
you keep...
Druid would have given it 12 armor.
Yeah, Branching Path would be a pretty disgusting card in this deck, but thankfully that is not the case. Madrid pick up their second Christology with that, and Amsterdam's quest is complete. Now they really need Nourish. That is the card they will be looking for. Because Madrid are just steaming through their deck at this point.
It's like I told you, man. Holy Wrath Paladin is a deck that just it runs all the card draw. The Druid deck is a limited amount of card draw. Therefore, the chances of them hitting these cards, like Dune, the Forgotten King, it's not guaranteed. And when it's not guaranteed, you don't get the armor, you get Holy Wrath in the face and you die. And that's what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, that is the games where they do not draw Nourish.
Yeah. These games are above 0% at the time. And
It is true.
you've got to go for your outs to win, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, the Paladin has played the game, the matchup, exactly as they should so far, minimizing armor total, just chaining draw as quickly as possible, and kind of making life difficult for the Druid, who, like I said, have not hit any of his power cards, and that Crystal Merchant is just still there in the hand, not drawing cards.
Never a good opportunity to play it. Hey, what can you do? Using the Consecration and the Archer just to clear the board and retain the True Silver Champion.
Yep, and still keeping 2 1/1s on the board. And putting the balance in play, getting some value off the spell damage. It is going to die to the second copy of Royce Searcher, and the Crystal Merchant is going to come down on a turn when it doesn't draw a card, it seems.
Your inner greed is just crying out in agony, I can tell.
It's
Blame
yes,
you.
yes, it is. It's being played on the one turn where it would not draw a card, and it's not even setting up for a scenarios in the following turn. So it just strikes me as a bit odd.
I hope you like my invention.
I agree with you there. I think they're just trying to just go for like drawing cards. We have to play for board and just hope that that gets us over the line at this point. they're not getting the cards they need, so they have to adapt their strategy in order to win.
But I
This
would
chosen
also
champion
argue
can
that
only kill one
they-
thing, so if they kill the merchant, they're not killing the 5/4s. That's their line of logic, I believe.
I would argue though, if you're not getting the cards you need, having your card draw not draw cards seems like a strange move.
I never said it was a good idea.
Fair enough.
I just said it's what they were going with.
Perhaps. Madrid just gonna they're now kind of at the point in the game where they just play spells, and the second Ferocious Howl has come down. And
That's what I mean. They're just playing to the strategy of we need to put stuff on board and kill them. At this point, it's like screw the armor. We're not getting enough of it. We're not getting a card draw. We have to take a different approach. And this is the approach they've chosen. Actually,
at least they're
working
being
out.
consistent with that approach.
Working out at the moment. To be fair, Paladin's clears are limited. Quality.
Yep, they do have a
and
lot
that's
of
it.
combo pieces for the time. They do have the pyro quality
Yeah.
if things get too dire for them. And Amsterdam need to kind of set up for this scenario, but not committing enough that the pyro quality just comes down immediately.
Zephyr's here. No joke, I actually think you Zephyr's here just because mana up and it sets up the scenarios. Oh, I actually like this.
Yeah, they are going for it, just playing the 3-2, drawing a card.
Zephyr's doesn't get you anything in this matchup. What does it get you? It gets you Tyrion when you've drawn like 1,000,000 cards. Card draw, so it's just not doing anything.
Yep, but the quality clear is going to come down. Flashlight going to get a bit of healing in the meantime. Chevalet is now down to 9 mana.
Yeah. Probably just going to see Big Daddy scenarios come down now, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Yep, play the 9 mana card on turn 9. Or 9 mana
Put
turn.
Loti into Hidden Oasis, like kill the Pyro and then heal Loti. That's also an option. But nah, it looks like just going to go for scenarios to just put the most power on board.
Yep, just going for that, and we just don't have an obvious play for the time being. Like, they have all the combo pieces in hand, but their deck is just now kind of full of removal. They hit all the card draw, and they hit all the combo pieces, but they haven't hit all their removal. Zephyrus is not active because I believe there's still 2 copies of Prismatic Lens still in the deck.
Most certainly is. Is there any other duplicate that you can think of? Let's run through the list. So, they've played double Christology, I believe, so we can discount all of the minions pretty much. They've used Consecration.
They've used they've got a timeout in hand. They've used a Consecration. They've got a Holy Wrath in hand, and they've played both Christologies. Yep, it is just Prismatic.
Just
Lens.
Prismatic Lens.
And when
Ouch.
Yep, and the Prismatic Lens is very likely to draw the other Prismatic Lens at this point.
True. Either that or timeout or Holy Wrath.
The Paladin doesn't really want to be using a timeout this early on, so they're just
They don't really want to
for
be
the
doing Emperor either, to be fair, but here we are. To do. And now we're seeing this pressure-based approach. Paladin deck. It's
Will where the
limited amount of
expedition
board
hit?
clears.
That is a Druid of the Claw. That is face damage right there. If they're going for this
Yes.
pressure plan, that is, I think, the card that they go for. And that's just a matter
Can you
of...
do it just yet? Like, you can go with we'll do Loti and then swipe.
or
Next to this
Starfall.
Emperor.
It's
true.
I think the swipe would like to go face the way that Amsterdam have been playing this. Starfall is a very bad card against Holy Wrath Paladin. So I think they should
That is
probably
true.
take the opportunity to get any amount of value from it. Send 13 damage to their face, keep the swipe back as like extra burst to go alongside the Druid the Claw, and they have this stealth Loti, which is just very threatening by itself.
I like it. I like it.
They are gonna go for
Agree. Just going for the swipe now. Okay.
I mean, it's still
Being with
valid.
Scenarios, like, it
Yeah,
works.
is doing a fair bit of damage, and Madrid get the Hammer of Wrath, which isn't the prismatic lens they needed it to be for Zephyrus to be active. And the
Consecration picked up, which isn't going to be doing much good either.
Yeah, it looks like this is.
Are we at the point where they're forced to use a Shivala Banker combo? Wait, I think we might be.
They cannot. They don't have the mana available to do that, as Shivala still costs 4.
This one is 5, and they have 6 mana. Can do it. The question is if they should.
I mean, they would have to Holy Wrath before they put Shivala into the deck in order for it to be playable.
Why? It
And that
costs
seems-
4 mana.
Yeah, they would have to play Shivala for 4, Banker for 1, and then they'd need an extra 3 mana from somewhere to play the Holy Wrath.
Why do they need
Yeah.
to play the Holy Wrath? Holy
Oh, I thought
Wrath in that turn?
you said to play the Shivala combo, not just play Shivala.
No, like Shivala combos and you use Shivala and Banker. Not the full combo. No.
Oh, see,
No.
I was confused
Sorry,
by
I
the way you
wasn't, I
phrased
wasn't
it.
entirely clear, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, just taking a slightly safer approach. They do only need to draw Prismatic Lens to get the Twisting Nether. Oh, they draw it!
Yep, they get it.
Nether
So
down, that's huge.
they are going to be able to clear this board. Don't I think about
try
playing the
for
Prismatic
Brawl?
Lens?
Oh, they're gonna go for Brawl? Brawl? Brawl, do you Twisting Nether? Oh, that's a tough one.
I would definitely not go for Brawl when I was at 14 health. And there's a possible, and like, there's a 80% chance of 4 attacks sticking on the board after a Brawl.
That is true. Twisting Nether is literally your entire turn, though. I think that's the one thing sticking in their mind at this point. Entire turn.
Yep, that is
Move quickly.
true. They're gonna.
See.
They're still thinking long and hard about this one. Just very unsure.
Oh,
They're gonna go
it's
for
a tough turn,
Shivala,
and they're deciding to go with Shivala instead.
and they're gonna just throw out
Oh,
the
they
Holy
go for
Wrath.
Holy Wrath. Do they get the 25? Oh, they
They
nearly got
do
it.
not.
Ah, denied. That's a shame.
Reporting for duty.
29, but it's pressure. Just forcing
Yeah,
the paladin to do things they really don't want to do.
Yep, so Starfall looks like it's gonna get some value on this turn. And
And you were such a non-believer. You're like, man, Paradox, there's no way Starfall gets value.
yeah, I'm still surprised it's managed to get some value, but it is gonna do that. Gonna allow them to push some damage phase. I would like to
13.
see them attack with the Loti here.
You just commit. If your opponent went for a turn like that, they don't have a board to clear, clearly, so you just commit. Sorry,
They-
as
they
the
don't-
druid, you just commit.
Yeah, I don't think they need to even play anything else here. They're threatening lethal already. If their board doesn't get cleared next turn, they win, regardless. So they don't need to play anything else. So we may see a Shrink Ray Consecration here from Madrid.
There's still timeout in the deck. How many cards are left?
3 cards
So they
remaining.
do draw 2 of them.
I wonder.
Oh, this is such a tough turn. Oh man.
Yeah, this is a
No,
Pretty-
wait, is there any other minions left? There's not, right? It's just Shivala in there.
I believe so. Everything else has been played. They're gonna go for it this turn. I think this is gonna queue.
I
the
think
key
this was
for
a mistake.
Amsterdam. I think this is the
I
key for
actually
Amsterdam
think this was a
to Hidden
mistake.
Oasis. Oh, the Nourish Hidden Oasis Anubis at Defender turn is pretty juicy here for Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And there's the Coon.
No,
With
I
the
actually
Elixir in
think
hand.
Madrid through here. I actually think they made a really bad play. What they should have done is they should have went Prismatic Lens,
Oh, you mean the
their
Paladin?
deck, hope they don't hit Holy Wrath, and then next turn they just win. I think that's the line. I actually think that's the line.
But I mean, they had such a high chance to
you
hit
make-
the Holy Wrath. When they had 3 cards
Doing it
remaining in
this way,
deck,
you
2 of them
make
are
Hidden
Shavala
Oasis
and...
an out, right? Now,
I think if they played the Lens, then they have a 50% chance to hit the second Holy Wrath and just lose.
how
There
do
are
they
only 3
win
cards remaining in
now?
deck. 2 of them were Holy Wrath and Shavala.
So they have to rely on the 50-50. Oh my god!
And they get
got
it, and Zephyrus is lethal.
Oh! They got it, wow.
Spectacular.
Okay,
Yeah,
never
they-
mind. Good job,
They
Madrid.
they just get it. Just about right at the end.
Just about, wow.
And that's gonna be it. 2-2. The Druid.
I was right, in the end, I was right. that the Paladin beat the Druid. I was right.
Yeah, but that was very close, and that was in a game where the Paladin drew incredibly well at the start, and the Druid drew awfully. That suggests
Say
that it's
that?
not a particular... Yeah, the Druid didn't draw Nourish, they drew badly. They had nothing in their hand for a lot of the game. Or the
Yeah,
Paladin
but they
hit,
put on
like-
a lot of pressure.
I will
Well, yeah.
fight.
They-
They
they
put
made
the
what-
Paladin to the point where they had to win a coin toss to win the game.
Yeah, without
Very
drawing
close
Nourish.
to my book.
Yeah. I think if the Druid just draws Nourish earlier in the game, they just kind of steamroll that game. But we're getting into Game 5 of the series. This could be a reverse sweep with the Holy Wrath Paladin, because the Paladin is coming up against this N'Zoth Reno Mage, a deck which does not really put on a great deal of pressure.
No, it does not.
And Madrid opting
It's gonna be
to...
free to just draw as much as it likes. Like, there's no pressure from the mage until like turn 5 at least.
Yeah, so Madrid opted to play kind of off curve there. They could have played the Thalnos on the previous turn and go into Christology 2-drop on this turn. So a little bit of awkward sequencing from them here.
Maybe they were hoping to get Acolyte of Pain, and then they Acolyte of Pain on 3, right?
Yeah, okay, I guess that's kind of what they're going for. They'd hit the second Christology anyway. They got Prismatic Lens in hand. They have all of the draw right now, and
Again.
just not putting on... Yeah, they are incredibly good at drawing Christology. It's got to be said.
Yeah. Or the one. Yeah, you just draw them now. Why wait until later? You're gonna overdraw, or you can play the Elven Archer just to get a card out of your hand.
Yeah, I would like to see them just chuck out the Elven Archer. It's not going to do anything. They have the time to assemble kind of like a Zephyrus combo later anyway. And this is just really what Amsterdam do not want to be seeing in this position. Like, you've gone down 2 games to this deck, you've lost your really good counter to it, and now you're playing the bad matchup, and they are drawing this well.
In all fairness, your hand is actually looking fairly nice. With Ragnaros is really good against decks like this. Like Ragnaros once upon a time was the bane of Freeze Mage.
Yeah, it's very good against combo decks. But
The only answer to Ragnaros, to be fair, is Shrink Prey at the moment. And that's it. Emperor. Like,
Yeah,
Emperor's
very
going
true.
to get 2 ticks at this point, like, no matter what. It's a legitimate shot here. Just based on how their hand is
yeah, I think they've got to coin out the Emperor at this position.
absolutely
It's-
coin Emperor.
it-
You've seen Elven Archer, you know that Archer
they
Trucer
can't
was
go
not an out.
Or
Quality
Archer
clear.
Subdue.
Yeah, you just go for it every time.
Yeah, I think that's what the Doomsayer was designed to set up. The Twilight Drake just made them consider possibly just playing that, but Emperor on an empty board is just so good.
Like, there's no way the Paladin can clear it.
Nope, and Paladin needs
After all.
they do have a lot of that. And now Paladin needs to just start getting stuff out of their hand. Kangor, Flash of Light, just card dumping, essentially, at this point. to try and find Wild Pyromancer specifically, Reno the Real Ecologist does allow this Emperor to push face and actually get some pressure going.
And it clears the board to play around Shrink Ray.
Yep.
I don't know, I
I'd-
think you do it.
Reno on curve is a pretty good play, can be, and it would guarantee some more Emperor ticks.
Yeah.
It's the most
Your opponent
pressure,
didn't have
and
to
the
clear
mage needs
last
to be
turn.
pressuring.
Like I said, your opponent didn't have to clear last turn. If you think that out is true silver, then leaving one attack guys on the board is just unacceptable, right? You just clear, and then you just punish
also
them
get
for
to
not
kill
having the
Kangol.
answer.
Which it deals with Kangor's kind of annoying Divine Shield as well. It's the most tempo, and the mage really needs to be playing for tempo at this point. Zephyrus, it is not currently active as there's still.
And there's
2
still no
timeouts.
way of clearing the Emperor.
Looks like they were just going for a Holy Wrath their own face there. And they're just going to.
We can't deal with Emperor. It's too powerful.
Reporting for duty.
I think at this point.
Yep, and.
You can
Nah.
even Conjur's Calling on the Reno.
Yep, Conjurer's Calling is pretty
It's
good
really
here.
only killed Emperor. That feels so bad.
Yep, it's gonna happen.
Oh, we got some really good 6-drops too. 2 6/5s.
Yep, that's even more
I
pressure.
don't think you commit further though. This board already requires an equality clear.
Yep, and you've already seen the
12
shrink ray.
with this.
This Emperor is just putting on so much pressure single-handedly.
I mean, like, the value of pressure against Holy Wrath Paladin is immense sometimes, because is that its board clears suck, and its card draw is inefficient sometimes.
I'd agree, and that's why Druid's so good against it.
Oh, that's stuff for debate. But
There is an equality
Well, I
consecrate
ca-
available here, but that means that the only clear for this Ragnaros that's in Amsterdam's hand is, well, it's either Shavala, or a Zephyrus card, or Subdue Consecrate.
yeah,
is
none
getting
of
it.
those feel good, like, at all.
Nope.
And like, not only that, like after this Ragnaros happens, you can then go Khaled goes Conjur's Calling, so you get 2 10-drops, like right off the bat as well.
Well, there is that Subdue. Madrid are on 9 mana, so they can't go something like Subdue, Consecrate, Prismatic Lens, dig further through the deck.
That's 10 mana, dear. You can't do that.
Yep.
Let's
So,
think.
Unfortunately.
yep, that would be the ideal turn. They could go something like Consecration, Shavala, Banker, put it back into the deck.
Hope that 1 Holy Wrath is enough.
I imagine it would be though, because the only forms of healing are Kartuk Defender.
Well, it's not really
And-
healing, right? The question is armor. How much armor can be generated?
0. The mage cannot generate any armor.
Well, there you go then. Yeah, you only do need 1 Holy Wrath at that point, don't you?
Yep, so I like this play.
9. Like with full combo.
The only way for Amsterdam to generate extra health is this Ziliax or Kartuk Defender Conjurer's Calling.
Oh.
So they have drawn the Ziliax, which is very important for them. Now that both consecrations are gone, it is maybe reasonable that the Ziliax is sticking around for more than 1 turn, generate a bit of extra health. But they do really want to get this Khaled Ghost down, I think.
Can still do
Possibly.
it, to be fair. They can go Khaled Ghost into Conjur's Calling.
Yeah, but then
Or
that
Flame
leaves Shavala.
Strike. Like either Conjur's Calling or Flame Strike, right? Like be good.
That is a counter
Not
spell.
nice.
That is a big card against Holy Wrath Paladin, because the Paladin has had to
It's
use
played,
a
of
lot of its
course.
spells.
Yeah,
They're
there's
just
the
gonna freeze
Shavala.
Shavala.
Yeah. Next turn. Like it being frozen now is fine. the prismatic lens for pyro prismatic lens, so gonna go for another prismatic lens. They do have the hand space for it.
How many cards
Dude.
are remaining in the deck?
About like 4 or 5, I believe.
Production. How
Will
many
they tell
cards
us
are
in
remaining?
a moment?
There are 6 cards
6
remaining.
cards remaining.
Prismatic Lens is going to draw another 2.
3.
Oh, so they're actually going to Conjure Call it on Ziliax. Gets a Witchwood Grizzly. That's
Yeah.
not dying. Ever.
Well, it's also not really putting on much pressure either, so
That is true.
a mixed
And
bag there.
because Ziliax and the second copy of Conjurer's Calling have been used, even if Kartik Defender was to be found, no extra health can be gained by the mage. The only kind of pseudo healing they have is Alexstrasza, and being at 15 is not something that they particularly care about.
Being at 15 is not healing.
No, it is not. So Emperor is going to come down here. It's going to hit Baleful Banker, Holy Wrath, and Zephyrus. So even if they do get up to 30, there will be a 30 damage combo available to Madrid. And they do have 2 copies of Timeout with 3 cards remaining in the deck. So...
Oh wait, they can lose at this point, unless Counterspell is able to save the day.
Yeah, that
The
is true.
11th power.
I must move quickly.
So if Madrid need to hold on to the cheaper copy of Timeout, as it's going to cost 1, as that will still allow a Shivala, Baleful Banker, Timeout, Holy Wrath, Zephyrus, Lava Burst combo for 10 mana.
But will they think of the Counterspell though? That is the question.
They could do, but they are now at the point in the game where they need to be thinking, how do we lose this? Because they're not just going to die. The mage did put on some serious pressure, but it has been kind of dealt with. So now it's just getting to that OTK, and they do also need, like, they should be thinking about Arcane Keysmith in particular. So they should be thinking about Counterspell anyway, whether it comes from the Keysmith or it comes from being generated by Gallagher's.
Zoff. 7 mana 5/7.
I have honestly never seen that before. I don't think I've ever seen
Tempo
N'Zoth be
N'Zoth.
played. I don't think I've ever seen N'Zoth be played and not summon anything.
Holy Wrath
we are
puts
gonna
them
see
one
it.
card and then they can time out. Yeah, nah. They're fine regardless. Yeah, because
Yep.
there can only be one counter spell, right? Even if they go
Yep.
Keysmith and counter spell, yeah, it's over.
It is almost certainly over. The only thing that could go wrong now is they mess up the sequencing. That could still happen, and that is what Amsterdam have to play for.
Ingenuity.
Yeah.
See what happens.
They took the
shall we?
counterspell for this reason. They've got to play it.
Snap. Alright.
Well, let's see. Madrid will win the game if they simply do not mess up this turn. If they do mess up this turn, they will lose. That's literally what this match has come down to.
Yeah. Underestimate the true ingenuity of truth pools, but with 2 secrets up, they're almost certainly going to think about it now.
Yeah.
They're going to sequence for counterspell now that you've seen the second secret. I think that's kind of a bad, approach there to put the second secret down. Increases the likelihood that counterspell is something that's available in their minds.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yep, so now that this counterspell's been procced, all they need to do is play this Holy Wrath, and
Over.
they do it. And
the reverse sweep is complete.
reverse sweep with the Holy Wrath Paladin. Their Holy Wrath Paladin they play was, I think, pretty impressive. I think there were a couple of things that Amsterdam did that I wasn't entirely sure of.
You're just not a fan of the pressure, are you?
I like the pressure. I think some of it was their deck list. I wasn't so big on the shaman in particular, but I gotta say, like, a lot of it just came down to the way that they played the Holy Wrath Battleman was super impressive. They were very good at drawing Christology as well as just playing it very well. And with that, Madrid going to wind up the season at 5-2, so they're going to go directly into the top four. Won't have to play an extra game in the playoffs. So congrats to Madrid. And unfortunately, Amsterdam have been knocked out with that. They're going down to 3-4, so there is no chance of them making it into the playoffs. So that's unfortunate. But remember, so that's going to wind up this broadcast. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you Paradox for joining me, and we will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central European Time for 2 more matches of the Nations Division. So until then, thank you everyone, and goodbye.